A critical element in establishing your web presence is getting content on your website, no doubt about it. You've uploaded WordPress to your hosting account, now what? To go from WordPress installed to content produced, you've got to know the basics and get comfortable with the WordPress Content Management System. In this video, you can watch over my shoulder as I walk through my WordPress dashboard and start putting things together for my business, effectively condensing years of my personal experience into one video, so you can follow along and do the same thing for your business, giving you the confidence of understanding this solid system used by millions of people, but more importantly, how to get your content onto your site and ready for the world to see. Let's do this. Welcome back and thanks for joining me again. This is video 7, WordPress Basics. I'm Kevin Stryker with TRU LIFT Digital Marketing, and this video is part of a video series titled How to Easily Create a Web Presence for Your Business, even if you have zero technical skills. On your path to establishing your web presence for your business, you've got the bones or structure set up. Domain name and hosting? Check. Connected to each other? Check. Content management system installed? Check. We knocked out the install of WordPress in the last video. Now the meat, or in our case, the content. How do we get it out there for the world to see? That's the job of the content management system, the back end of what a viewer will see on your website. In case you missed any of those previous videos, to get you to this point, or just want a refresher, or to jump ahead to any for that matter, just click the link on your screen right now if you're watching this on YouTube, or any of the links in the video description area, either below or beside the video, or wherever you see that. Maybe you already are a little or a lot familiar with WordPress. If so, this may be a review. In this video, I'll do my best to point out things that I've learned, pitfalls that you may be able to avoid. If you are completely new to WordPress, then this video will get you to the point where you are comfortable in your understanding of how to get around in the dashboard and how to get your content out there. With that said, I've broken this video down into 4 sections, and as with all videos in this series, you can jump forward and back to various parts of the video by utilizing the timestamps in the description area. In section 1, we'll walk through the configuration wizard, talk about blog roll versus static home pages, start the tour of WordPress with the dashboard home screen, and how to make the most of it. In section 2, we'll roll up our sleeves on posts, pages, and media, how to effectively use them and organize them. Then in section 3, we'll zoom out a bit from the specific content and look at your entire site from an appearance perspective and discuss such things as wireframing, logos, site icons, and color. And then we'll wrap things up in the final section by discussing the final items of appearance, including widgets, menus, and the site editor. This video is by no means completely comprehensive on all that WordPress can do, but rather a rundown of the basics of the system that highlight the key areas that you will require to get your site up and running quickly. And just to be clear, while content is key, or as I said earlier, critical, in establishing your web presence, this video is not about content creation, but simply the tools used to get that content onto your site. When you installed WordPress in the last video, you ended up on this page here. In this video, I will acquaint you with WordPress as it appears right out of the box, so to speak. When I say out of the box, what I mean is, when you installed WordPress, the management system by default gets set up for you in its most basic form. Now, while I say basic, I don't want to suggest that it is not impressive or that it is unsophisticated or crude, because out of the box, it is very much the opposite of that, starting at a very high level with regards to appearance and functionality, and already contains all that you need to run your website. In fact, I've seen 7-figure businesses run their websites with just the default settings you have here. If you want, though, you can take what is provided by default here and add to it in various ways to change your site's look or how it operates using plugins and/or themes. I'll speak more about plugins in the next video, video 8, and themes in video 10, but very quickly, I'll just say that plugins are like a software program, often by third-party developers, that can be added onto your existing WordPress program to enhance its functionality in some specific capacity. And themes, in general, can be added to WordPress to change the overall appearance of, and in many cases the functionality of, your website. So like I said, this is your dashboard as it appears the first time you log into your WP admin area. What you are seeing in the main section here is an introductory Welcome to WordPress configuration wizard, or put another way, just a program to help you get initially set up. Once you either go through the wizard or close it, you will see a more traditional looking dashboard each time that you log in. What I'm talking about will make more sense shortly. Keep in mind that UIs, or user interfaces, change quite often as programs are upgraded, etc., so what is on my screen in this video and others may not reflect exactly what is on your screen, but the general concepts, options, etc. that I will be discussing will still be accurate and present. They may just be moved around somewhere on the screen slightly. This Welcome to WordPress screen is a user-friendly way to help you very quickly get started on configuring or laying out your site. So if you've never used WordPress before, this can be a good way to go, as you might not yet be aware of the options that are available to you and where to find them, although of course that is what I intend to show you in this video. So let's just go through this welcome section rather quickly, and don't worry, whatever changes you make here or in any part of WordPress can be changed or edited later. What kind of site am I setting up? Pretty straightforward, just click whichever button applies to you and your situation. Likely business, but of course that depends on you. If you ever want to get out of this welcome section, just click here, but I'll click business. This screen is looking to establish the title of the site, the top part of which it pre-populated with TRULiftDigital.com from when I installed WordPress. Yours will show your site name or whatever you entered into the blog title section when you installed WordPress. Here's just a quick screenshot to remind you what that screen looked like from the last video. And then there is a standard tagline or site description below it. Feel free to enter something for now that you think might be relevant, as WordPress will automatically put this information into your site, and when you look at an example page, you will see the changes that you make here. I'll just stick with the default here for now and click Next Step. Are you going to update your site with news or blog posts? Just click what makes sense for you. I'm definitely going to be updating blog posts on my site, so I'll click Yes. What kind of homepage do you want? If you have a website that contains a blog, you can go with a traditional blog style that contains a blog roll on the homepage, which is just a collection of posts, usually ordered from most recent to oldest, in an abbreviated form with a See More button that you can click on to see the entire post. I'm sure you've seen them many times before, but let me show you an example of one such site, just so you are clear on what I'm trying to say. Here is a site called yogadork.com. The homepage contains some advertising at the top, but it's just a collection of the most recently published blog posts. Each time a new blog post is published, it gets added to the top here. Often this blurb here is the first paragraph of your blog post, telling you what is in the rest of the blog, and then there is a See More link at the bottom or an ellipsis you can click on. In this case, you have to click the title or the image to see the full blog post. An alternative to this blog roll concept, even if you have a blog, is to go with a static welcome page or homepage like this one. JoeThePlumber.net is the site of a plumber in Houston, I just chose at random, whose homepage contains information about his business and services that he provides. He has a number of pages that he outlines here in his main site navigation, among them a blog. In his blog, he just has the most recent one, front and center, and then links on the side to his older posts. The point is, his homepage, or front page, the page that you arrive on when you type his site URL, is a static page that doesn't change or update when he creates a new blog post, or has recent news that he is reporting. This is just an example of a static homepage. The site that I will be creating for TRU LIFT Digital Marketing will also contain a static homepage, which is just what it sounds like, a page that doesn't change when you update your blog or whatever. My site will still contain a blog, but I will link to it in my header navigation, like the Joe the Plumber site did. I'll explain more about that in a little bit. Since I'm going to show you how to set up a static page, I'll just skip this step for now. Here it's giving you the opportunity to create one of your first pages, a Contact Us page. Okay, I'll say yes to that, so we can see what that looks like. You can always delete it later if you don't want it. Do I basically want to activate the Jetpack plugin and connect it to WordPress.com? It allows you to grow and track your community and increase security and site speed. That sounds pretty good. I'd never suggest not to do that, but to be honest, I've never used Jetpack before, as I have some other means to track visitors and speed my site, which I'll be showing you how to do in subsequent videos. I'm not saying that I wouldn't use it, just that I haven't used it yet. I haven't done any personal research on it yet, so I don't want to endorse it fully until I do. And not to scare you, but as I'll discuss in video 8 on plugins, there can be times where plugins conflict with one another, so for me I'm just going to skip that step for now. Again, don't worry if you want to activate and connect Jetpack, as you can always deactivate and remove plugins if there is a conflict. If you do want to connect it, I think that you have to set up a WordPress.com profile, but it will show you how to do that, I'm sure. And based on what I've clicked, there is a bit of a summary page where you can edit what you've done if you want. Feel free to keep going on with this configuration if you want by clicking Customize Your Site. If you are staying with the WordPress default theme, or honestly even if you are not or don't intend to, This would be a great way to get rolling quickly on your site. Like I said, there is very little, if any, trouble that you can get into WordPress that you can't undo. If there is potential trouble, it will be made clear to you that it can't be undone. So if you're so inclined, pause this video now and have some fun working with your configuration. For me, I want to try and keep this video short as I can while still hitting some key points, so I'm going to bail out here by Xing out and continue with the rest of the video series. Do I want to stay on this page? No, it's not a mistake. I'll leave. Okay, so now we are back on a standard WordPress dashboard. Before we go through a quick tour of WordPress, I want to let you know that if for some reason you're feeling a bit overwhelmed at this point, don't worry. If this is new to you, there is a bit of a learning curve. That is why we're going through this video series. Another alternative for managing your WordPress stuff, but on a monthly basis, is to try this WP Live here, starting at $49 per month. I've never used it, so I can't speak to it personally, but I would guess that it's a very good service to unstuck you if that's where you're at now, or perhaps when you do get stuck. Having said that, if you watch this entire video, I don't think that you would need it, but I guess it's there for you just in case. Definitely keep that on your screen if you want. It won't interfere with anything, but I'm just going to X out of it and get rid of it for me to clean up my dashboard a bit. Even if you do X out of it for now and realize later that you would like the service, they do offer the service inside of the Marketplace tab, either on the top here or on the side here under Services. Like it says here, your site has not been launched yet, or put another way, is not live yet. It won't be launched or live until such time as you click this link here. If you viewed your website while logged into your WP admin area and also went to your website when you are logged out of your WP admin area, you will notice that you see two different screens come up. If you are new to WordPress, this can be pretty confusing at first. The reason is due to the fact that, as I just said, your site is not live or launched yet. It's easiest to just show you what I mean. If I were to log out for a second by going over to the right side and down to Log Out, and then went to trueliftdigital.com, the placeholder is still here, saying that I am working on it and that it's coming soon. So just to reiterate, this is when I am not logged into the WordPress admin area for trueliftdigital.com and my site is not launched or live. If I log back in, and your browser will know when you are logged in, and you either go here at the top left to view your site or open a new tab and enter in your site URL, you will see this screen here. This is an automatically generated blog post that WordPress publishes by default. If you notice this bar at the top of the screen, this is an indication that you are logged into your dashboard or WP admin area. The reason this blog post doesn't show up yet when you are not logged in is because you are not live yet. If you launch your site and go live, then this is the page that you would see when you type in your URL, if you don't change your homepage, that is, because currently WordPress has the default blog post set up to be your homepage. I'll just go back to the dashboard by clicking here. If you hit the button here and were logged out of this WP admin area, that post would be what you see when you go to your URL or website. In my case, trueliftdigital.com minus the WP admin bar at the top. Don't worry, we're going to get rid of that default post soon enough. I just thought I'd add that in case you were going back and forth to your site while being logged into your WP admin and logged out and was wondering what the heck is going on and why they're different. That might be a bit confusing, but as we go through the rest of this video, it will begin to make more sense. Okay, so let's take a closer look at the rest of the dashboard. This top section, Welcome to WordPress, is like the configuration screen we had previously, where you can quickly customize your site, jump right into creating a blog post or page, change your theme, manage widgets, etc. They are shortcuts to get started. Those same options are available elsewhere inside the dashboard, which I'll show you. If you scroll down, you can connect Opt-in Monster, which is exit intent software that essentially works by popping up an option to your website viewer when they're about to leave to try to get them onto your email list so that you can market to them. There are various other exit intent software options that I will be talking about once I get trueliftdigital.com up and running, including Sumo, Optimonk, and others. There is another request to connect Jetpack. Again, it explains what the service can do for you. There is a quick draft area, which if you were struck with inspiration while on the screen, you could quickly jot down your ideas and save the draft to upload later, and an updated news feed on things happening with WordPress if you're interested. At the bottom is a tracker of posts and pages you've created, the blog comments you've received, and then activity that has occurred on your site recently. Since WordPress has already taken the liberty of installing the Opt-in Monster plugin, as you can see, here's a quick link in the sidebar. We'll talk about plugins, by the way, in video 8 of this series. I'll try to keep my dashboard clean by clicking this button here to minimize this tile. Same thing with Jetpack. That plugin is already installed by default, as you can see in the sidebar, so minimizing the screen will not get rid of it, just clean up my dashboard a little. I just wanted to draw your attention to the right side here. For each screen you have these screen options here that allow you to change the look of the respective screen that you are on if you want. And if you drop that down, it kind of gives you a list of different items on your page that if you don't want shown, you can remove. If you look at this Welcome to WordPress area below, if I just click this here, that's gone. I can do the same thing with this news at the bottom here, etc. Click the check mark off and it's just gone. Not gone forever, because if I want, I can bring them back just by clicking the box again. It allows you to clean up and customize your dashboard so you only have the parts of the page that you want or need. So that is your screen options, and it's available on most of your dashboard pages. And then over here too, on pretty much each page, if not every page, you've got this help menu here. And this help will walk you through and explain information that is relevant to that page. It just gives you helpful tips and hints, etc. And then of course there's documentation over here and support forums, which are great if you're ever really stuck on something. Now in addition to that, you can just go right over to here and click on the W in the top left of the screen. Here you will find information on all things WordPress, including their website, a documentation section, and another link to the support forums, which, as I said, are great for getting your questions answered. Here you can take a look at your site. We did that already. Here you can see at a glance if there are any updates waiting for you. At a glance here, you can see if anyone has commented on one of your blog posts. You can add a new post or page, add media like pictures or video, and add a new user if you have more than one person working on your site with you. These correspond to the sidebar options of post, media, page, and user here. This marketplace section is the same as is contained on the sidebar here, where you can purchase upsell items like themes, plugins, graphics, etc. And over on the right side, we're here already, where you can log out from your dashboard or edit your profile. We'll just go into there quickly. This is not what is going to show up in your website. It is color scheme options just for this dashboard. So if while you are here, you want the look to be a little bit different, you can do that. I'm just going to leave it on default, but if you want to make any changes, you'll have to go to the bottom and click on Update Profile to save those changes. While I'm here, I'm going to try and change my password from the auto-generated one that I was given when I installed WordPress to one that I will be able to remember easier. Auto-generated are naturally harder to hack, and while you can have it saved on your browser or in Excel files or in your password tracker, etc., and copy and paste it, I personally like to enter my own. Of course, it's just personal preference. So I'll highlight the new auto-generated one here and enter my own. And click Update Profile. And I'm going to say no to my browser saving it for me for now. Okay, so here it tells me my profile was updated. Now if you're going to do this too, make sure you write down your password in your password tracker or in a safe place where you can easily get to it. For more information on what the Web Presence Password Tracker is and how you can download one for yourself if you want for free, just click the link on your screen right now if you are watching this in YouTube, or in the video description area, either below or beside the video, or wherever you see that. And that brings us to the end of the first section of video 7. To quickly summarize, we walked through the configuration wizard, discussed blog roll style homepages versus static homepages, the difference between having your site live and not live, logged into WordPress admin and not logged in, and then we moved across the top toolbar where we finished off with how to change your password for your WordPress login if you want. Let's keep rolling. Let's pick up from where we left off. So I'll just go back to the dashboard and walk you down the sidebar options. There's a lot in here, but I'll do my best to go through it as quickly as I can without being so quick that you can't follow me. We covered the dashboard home screen, and I talked about this Jetpack plugin a bit. If you want more information on it, just click the link. Let's spend some time now on posts, media, and pages, because that is really the heart of your site, where you create your content. Media is just the various images and videos that you're going to have within your pages and posts. We'll deal with that as well very shortly, but first, what is the difference between a page and a post? You may already know this, in which case this will just be a quick review, but on a website that has a blog post or post is an article, kind of like a newspaper piece, that is generally centered around one main topic. While posts can have been on your site for many years and still have traffic to them, posts are more fluid than pages, in that in order to stay current and engage the reader and help the search engines rank your site, new post content has to be created quite regularly, whereas a page stays in one place, and usually forms part of your site navigation. Examples of common pages on a website are your home page, of course, your About Us page, services or product pages, resource pages, contact us page, etc. To illustrate what I mean in a real-life example, let's go back to check out joetheplumber.net. As you can see on his site, that Joe has his pages in his top navigation bar. He's got home page, About Us page, services, products, hot deals, Spanish, reviews, blog, etc. Those are basically all his pages. If you click on one of those, let's say About Us for example, you can kind of see, okay, he talks about his history or that of his company, talks about his vision and mission and so forth. Just kind of general information on his company. That's what a standard page looks like. I'm sure you've seen many of them, I know. Once it is published, it gets updated from time to time, but doesn't change that much or that often. If we click on his blog page, we talked about this already, but you can see his individual posts, usually most recent first, and then the rest in his archive down the right side in his case, which you can also check out. So there's an example of a page and a post. This is a page that in this case actually contains his posts and will be updated as soon as he publishes his next post. So it is an exception to the rule that I pointed out earlier about pages not changing that often. This particular page, because it contains his posts, which I would guess are updated semi-regularly, would in fact change more often than most pages. A blog roll style website would have this page as their home page or front page, the page that you are immediately directed to when you put the site's URL in your browser and hit enter. So let's go back to the dashboard again, and it seems more logical to start with pages first. So let's hover over Pages and click on All Pages. Presently I only have 2 pages in this section. The sample page was created by default when we installed WordPress. The Contact Us page was created at the beginning of this video when I was going through that Welcome to WordPress configuration helper. If I hover over Contact Us, you can see Edit, Quick Edit, Trash, and View. Let's click on View. Here's the automatically generated Contact Us page. There's a quick blurb about what it is, then your contact information, and then a form for someone to contact me by email if they want. That doesn't seem to be rendering properly here for some reason. And that is probably because I would have to upload and activate a plugin like Contact Form 7 or Gravity, or maybe just enabling Jetpack might do this. I'd have to look, but either way, I'll just quickly add that the reason this page is displaying the way that it is, with my site name and tagline in the top left, the content portion of this post in this size on the left, and this sidebar on the right with search, recent posts, etc., is because of the theme that WordPress is using for me by default. A theme, which can be changed, determines how your site will lay out and look, but I'll get more into that, like I said, in the themes video coming up, video 10. Because we are in the view mode for this page, I can't make any changes to this. To do that, I could hit the back button, hover over the name of this page again, and click on Edit, or up here is an Edit Page button I can click on. Here's where you can edit your page. It's the same thing if I was in Posts, which you will see when we are done here. You'll notice that the sidebar that was on the right side when we viewed the post, here's a quick screenshot as a reminder, is not present, as that stays static with the theme unless you customize it. This screen is just to edit the body of the page. So if, instead of a great company name, I can replace it with TRU LIFT Digital Marketing, just like you would in a word processor like Word, you just highlight it and type. Then I can go over there to preview changes. It opens in a new tab. You can see here that the change from great company name to TRU LIFT Digital Marketing has been made. I can close out of that tab. If I'm happy with my changes, I can click Update, which will save the changes that I just made. But rather than click Update, I'm just going to go back to All Pages. Now because I made a change and I didn't save that change, WordPress is warning me or reminding me that I haven't saved it yet, just in case you forgot to, which I think is pretty good. This time I left on purpose without saving, so I'll just hit Leave Page. I can also click on Quick Edit if I want to change the title, the slug, which is just the part of the URL text that shows up in someone's web browser when they are on that page, and the date of the post. If I want to make this page a subpage of another page, I can do that here. In this case I don't. If you do make any changes here, just click Update. To go back, I can either click on the All link to show me the All Pages again, or I can just click Cancel to get out of this quick edit. I can also trash this page if I don't want it. Or if I have a few pages that I want to trash at the same time, I can tick both boxes and go to Bulk Actions to move them to trash, or edit both of them. I would then hit Apply to finish that action. I don't want to do both. Let's just say I want to delete Contact Us. I just hover over it and click on Trash. As a safety, it's not deleted forever, just in case you made a mistake. It tells you here that it was moved to trash, but gives you the opportunity to undo your action. Let's pretend you didn't undo it, you logged out, and this bar was gone. For this example, I'll just X out of it. Your page will still be sitting in your trash. If you change your mind down the road, click on Trash. If you hover over your trashed page, you can click on Delete Permanently, which will do just that, or you can click Restore, and it will show up again back in your All Posts folder. If I click on the All Pages link, I can see that there it is. It has been taken out of the trash and restored. Let's just go check out this sample page. Hover over it and click View. It's got a little more to the body of it. The layout is the same, of course, because of the theme, but this page has these two quote areas called block quotes and even a hyperlink here. Let's go back to check out the editing area for this page. The quickest way is just to go up here and click Edit Page on the top WordPress bar. What I want to point out here is that there are two ways to view this page in this edit screen. You can view it like we are here, which is referred to as a WYSIWYG editor, which is an acronym for What You See is What You Get, which is like your standard word processor. This visual tab here lets you know that you are in this standard editor. Or you could click on the Text tab, which shows you not just the text on the page, but also some of the HTML code, hypertext markup language code, that allows it to appear the way that it does. For example, if we go back to the Visual tab, we can see that, "Hi there, I'm a bike messenger by day, actor by night, and this is my website. I live in Los Angeles, have a great dog named Jack, and I like pina coladas and getting caught in the rain," is appearing in this block quote style. If we go to the text editor portion, we can see that same sentence here, "Hi there, I'm a bike messenger by day, etc., and I like pina coladas and getting caught in the rain," surrounded by these two HTML brackets here and here. Now, you don't have to know HTML code to use WordPress, so don't worry. If you go back to the visual editor, you can use this ribbon at the top, just like you would in Word or another word processor, to bold, italicize, strike through, left justify, right justify, or center something. You can insert a link or remove a link on either text or an image. You can insert a read more tag, which allows you to just put a short blurb about something, and if someone is interested in reading more, they can just click on this read more to expand more content. If you click on this toggle button, you have even more options. You can change the font size of different sections within your pages and posts. You can underline text, justify it, change the color to whatever you want, paste this text, clear the formatting, add special characters, decrease or increase the amount of indentation that you have on a paragraph, and then undo an action you just completed. I use that one quite a lot. Or redo something you have undone. And then you can use various keyboard shortcuts. I'll just close that toggle for now. So if I wanted to have this block quote effect for this top paragraph and not the next paragraph, all I have to do is highlight it and click the quotes here for block quote, and it's done. To undo the block quote on this line, I just highlight it and click the quotes to remove it, and it's back to a normal paragraph. If I go back to text, you can see that paragraph that I just used the block quote on has the code in front of it and at the end. And the other paragraph starting with "Hi there" no longer has the code around it. If I want to save my changes, I would click Update. If you go back to the Visual tab, you will also notice that the words "Your Dashboard" are in blue and underlined, suggesting that they are a link. If I hover over it, nothing happens. But if I go to Preview Changes and hover over it, I can tell in the corner of my screen that those words are a link to trueliftdigital.com/WP-admin. I just wanted to show you the preview quickly so you could see how it would look if it were live on the internet. Let's just go back to the editor now. So I'll X out of this tab. If I go to the Text tab, I see that the words "Your Dashboard" is surrounded by the HTML code, in this case an anchor tag, here and here. To make your own links in your pages and posts, just go back to your Visual Editor tab, highlight the word that you want to be used for the link, let's just say pina coladas, go up to the chain links on the ribbon and click it. It will ask you where you want to link those words to. Just enter a URL. For example, let's say pinacoladas.com, and click the blue boxed arrow to apply that link to those words. Now, if you want to save your changes, you can click Update over here. If you changed your mind and you don't want it linked anymore, you can click the X. If you want to edit your link, click the pencil. Notice that it automatically puts the http:// if you didn't put it. If you click the gear icon, you can edit the link further, like having the link open up in a new tab, so visitors aren't taken off of your site if you have provided an external link. or linking to other content that you already have on your site, so you can have some good internal linking, which Google and other search engines like. There's also a search function, so you can search for internal posts and or pages to link to. If you do make any changes here, as always, just hit the update button in the bottom. But I'm just going to hit cancel for now to get out of this screen. And click the X here to remove the link, as I was just using it as an example. Now before I go any further, I just wanted to jump in with a few quick comments on coding. Now while the title of this video series references not having to have any technical skills, and given that I just said you don't have to know any HTML code or CSS to style that code just a few moments ago, which you definitely don't, while you might get a little anxious hearing this, depending on where you're at, and by the way don't be, learning just the very basics could pay some pretty big dividends, and I'll tell you why. First, let me say that I truly believe that with any business, you have to try to delegate or outsource as much as you can, when you can, to move forward faster. After all, time is really your single most precious resource. So if you run into any coding issues, or general WordPress issues for that matter, and you're not tech savvy, by all means get some help. Don't waste a lot of time, it often isn't worth it and can be quite frustrating. Having said that, if you can make the time to get down the very basics when it comes to HTML and CSS, when you hit a little snag, and not to scare you, but even though WordPress and other CMSs and themes are much more user-friendly than they ever have been, you will hit some little snags. You will be able to steer very quickly around them with basic knowledge, not to mention save yourself money and likely ultimately time by not having to wait for people to get back to you. Something small like a spacing issue between paragraphs, for example, if you're completely in the dark with regard to code, can take hours to figure out. Ask me how I know that one. Or literally just a few seconds if you have the very basics down. I think the time invested for the very basics is worth it, but hey, that's just me. If you are interested in learning a little bit more about HTML, or maybe even CSS, or if perhaps you're just interested in checking them out from a reference perspective, which for what it's worth I would highly recommend, there is a link on your screen right now and or in the description area of this video to a 2-minute video that I created on 2 free websites that I think are worth checking out. Maybe it's easiest to just keep watching this video now, but just remember that the links are in the description area for this video for you to check out later. Okay, let's get back to WordPress. You should also take comfort in knowing that even if you forget to hit the update button to save your work, and even if you leave and somehow miss the reminder about saving your work, there is an autosave feature that works in the background to keep your content safe. I'm not sure how often it autosaves, something like every 5 minutes or so, but just so you know, there are many fail-safes built into WordPress. Another feature that I like is the word count feature at the bottom of your pages and posts. Especially in posts, you will likely want to keep track of how many words that post contains. You can also save drafts of pages and posts if you are not ready to publish them and make them live yet. Let me just update this page. It will tell you when it has updated the page. And I'll go up to the top and add a new page. Now I know that in addition to a home page, one of the pages I'm going to want to have is an About Us page. So for title, I'll just put About for now. For text, I'll quickly paste the About Us portion from another website I have, autorespondersreview.com. And there it is. It looks like it's 1,527 words, and actually looks like it's already saved as a draft, by the way. I guess that is because it is a larger post, so WordPress just automatically recognizes the importance of saving it right away. So I'll just scroll up to the top. Now if I hit publish and my site was live, which it isn't yet, this page would be live on the internet. Let's pretend for a moment that your site is live to illustrate a point about drafts. I don't want to publish it yet, live to the internet, as I will probably make some changes, so until this page is at a point where I'm totally happy and ready, I'm just going to click Save Draft. Now like I said, in this case, it looks like WordPress already auto-saved a draft for me as soon as I pasted it in here, since it is such a large post, or in this case page, but if I or you make any changes etc., and you want to save that draft, get yourself in the habit of always hitting Save Draft before you leave it, to ensure that you have the most recent version saved. If you forget though, you'll likely get reminded. It tells me that the draft page was updated, and there you go. You have just created a draft page, meaning that you can go back to work on it and get it just right before you decide to go live with it by hitting Publish. One thing we didn't discuss yet was media. How do you get your pictures into your pages and posts? If I click on the Media tab on the side here and click into the library, you can see that I don't have anything uploaded to my library yet. As I add pictures and or videos into pages and posts, they all get stored here in this library. I can bring in images directly here by clicking Add New, and then either dragging and dropping them in this space here. In this case, I'll just grab an image from my desktop. This little squirrel will work. I'll drag him into the library and drop him in there. and he's uploaded. Alternatively, I can click Select Files and get them from my hard drive or a USB drive or wherever I have them saved. I'll just grab a logo from one of my previous sites for illustration by double-clicking it. And there it is, uploaded into the library. So there's two ways you can upload images into your media library. You can also do the same thing in a page or a post. I'll just click on this squirrel for a second. This little guy, I'm going to want to put in a post later. I can also edit a few things here, his URL, the title, the caption of the image, the alternative text, and the description. And there's even more I can do here. I can edit the image, just in the corner there. But for now, I'm just going to permanently delete this guy and take him out of my library because I want to show you how to add media directly from a page or a post that then gets saved here in your media library. I'll just go back to that About page that we were on earlier by clicking on the Pages tab and then All Pages, and then clicking on that Draft About page to open it up in the editor to add that squirrel in a different way. I just put my cursor where I want the image to go, so I'll just scroll down to find the spot that I want to add him. Okay, here, I want him in between here, so I'll just put my cursor here, and then I'm just going to click on this Add Media button at the top. So it's showing me that it has my logo in the media library, but it doesn't have the squirrel because I deleted him. So I've got to upload that file. So I'll just go to this tab, Upload Files, and click on it. And I'll click Select Files to add him in this way. It's the file right here, so I'll just double click that. And he's uploaded, and once again in my media library. And again, I can still alter all of these items, the URL, the title, the caption, the alt text. You can even scroll down here and change the alignment, however you want the image displayed. But for now, I'm just going to insert that image into the page by clicking here. So there he is. Now that's not exactly what I want. I want him to be bigger for one, and I want him to be centered on the screen, or at least centered within the text. So I'm just going to go over here and click on this image, and when I do that, I've got the opportunity to basically move him to the left, to the center, to the right, or where he is. I can delete him if I want, or I can edit his picture. For one, I know that I want to have him in the center, so let's do that first. But I also want him to be bigger, so I'll go to Edit, which is this little pencil here. And now for alternative text, I can maybe change that to something that is more SEO friendly, which I'll talk about more in video 9. I can also add a caption, but for now I'll just leave those alone. Rather than medium image, let's try a full-size image. It might be too big, but let's give it a shot by clicking Update. Yeah, now that I see it in the post, or at least the edit screen, it does look too big. So I can click on the Edit button, or I can just drag the corner of the image to scale it down a bit. And maybe more that size is what I want. Probably about there. To save the change I just made to this page, I'll just click Save Draft. And I'm just going to quickly preview my page by clicking here to see what it looks like. And basically here you go. Here's my About page. I've got my mission here, I've got a couple of quotes, a little about me, another quote, I love my quotes, and there's my squirrel, and then the rest of my page. Kind of my first real page so far for this site. And then of course I still have all this stuff on the side of my page. Okay, that's good for preview. I'm going to close this tab. So now if I go back to media, I just want to show you what is in the library now. So even though I uploaded this squirrel in the editing section of the pages area, he is still in my media library should I wish to use him in the future or whatever. I should have also mentioned that if you wanted to make this image link to something else, you can do that as well. So I'll just go back to that About page by going to Pages on the side and All Pages and selecting About. Scroll down to the squirrel right here. If I click on him and click this Edit button, I can go down here and link him. I can link him to a media file, attached page, or a custom URL. So let's just say I want to go here. It automatically adds the http://. I'll just link him to emailmarketingleverage.com, another website that I operate, and click Update to update that link. And then I'll just save that draft. It says my draft page is updated. Now if I scroll down to that image and hover over it, because I'm in the edit mode, you will not see anything. But if I go back to preview one more time, and I scroll down, now that image is a link. So if I hover over the image, you can see in the bottom left corner of your screen there, emailmarketingleverage.com. That tells me that if I were to click on that image, it would take me to that site. That's not ultimately what I intend to do, as that link is not relevant for this particular image, but if I wanted to, that's what I could do. So I'm just going to go out of here for now by closing this tab. And that's basically all I wanted to cover for pages. We'll quickly go over posts now, which, now that the groundwork has been laid, won't take long, and keep moving on. I'll just go back over to the sidebar and hover over posts and then all posts. So now, from an editing perspective, posts are very much like pages, so I won't go too in-depth here. Having said that, there are some subtle differences, which we will discuss quickly before moving on. As we mentioned, posts are where your regularly updated content gets published to connect with your audience, whether that be direct to website visitors or pushed out to social followers in an effort to bring them back to your website. The post job is to educate, inform, and/or entertain, and ultimately monetize your viewers, prospects, and customers. In a business, every post is created with a single purpose or call to action in mind. It might not necessarily be to buy a product or service, but to take a specific action. This isn't the place to go much further on that, as we're just trying to get your site set up, but keep it in mind when you are creating your posts. In addition to differing from pages in their frequency in which they are updated, posts also contain categories to help you organize your content for both you and your audience. As TRU LIFT evolves for us, we will be regularly posting content in 3 main areas or categories, being web presence, lead generation, and marketing automation. And as I explain how we intend to organize our content, perhaps it can get you thinking about how you want to organize yours if you haven't already. This video and this particular web series, for instance, will be found inside of the web presence category of our site. Web presence is designed to take you from the beginnings of setting up your website or learning about the process to improve one that you already have, to setting up your social profiles and analytics to track visitors and position you for retargeting in your marketing. The second area of focus is lead generation, which involves topics specifically related to paid and/or organic traffic, email marketing, and lead capture, retargeting of visitors who visit your site but don't take a desired action, and various marketing tools like landing page or sales page builders, etc. And then a third focus on marketing automation, which, as the name suggests, is all about automating your marketing processes and effectively building out your sales funnels so that you can scale your business and get it set up for maximizing your return on investment. Each area will have a collection of posts and/or videos that speak to the individual area of focus. Let's go back to my live screen to see what I mean. If I click on the Categories tab, I'll quickly add our 3 categories. For name, I'll call our first one Web Presence. If I decide to have a separate category page for each of my categories, either now or in the future, it just asks me what I would like to use as my slug, which is just the part of the URL after my root domain of trueliftdigital.com. So in this case, I'll just put web-presence, which would then make the category page trueliftdigital.com/web-presence. Parent is just asking me if I want to make this category page a subpage of another page. For TRU LIFT, this will be the parent or top-level page, for now at least. Just so you're clear on what I mean, if we look at the area of focus of web presence, I can separate the various sections of web presence into subcategories, and perhaps down the line I will do that, like this. In this case then, web presence, in a hierarchical relationship, would be at the top level, or parent category, and the other sections would be subcategories of that parent, or child categories. In this case, like I said, web presence is the top level parent with no category above it for now. So I'll just keep parent as is with none. I'll also leave the description blank and then click Add New Category. You can see on the right side that web presence has been added as a category. I'll just do the same with my other 2 categories, name, lead generation, and I'll just put the slug of lead-gen, leave the parent at none, and the description blank, and click Add New. And then for the last one, for now, marketing automation, and for the slug, I'll just put automation and add new category. So now you can see on the right all 3 of the categories have been added, as well as an additional category, uncategorized, which I will keep, as I may very well have some posts that just don't fit into one of those categories that I just created. If you've watched this video series from the beginning, you would have noticed that the second video was related to registering a domain name. Whenever you produce content, you have to keep in mind that not everyone prefers to consume content on a specific platform or using certain media. Some people prefer video, some prefer reading text. In the case of that second video, and all videos in this series for that matter, the content was in video format, obviously, and the media source was YouTube via our YouTube channel. It feels strange to say that because as I say those words, I have yet to create that channel, but by the time you watch this video, I obviously would have. Anyway, realizing that not everyone prefers video as a means of consuming content, and also being conscious of the fact that I need to get rolling on putting blog content directly onto my site so that Google can start to rank my site and my pages, I can repurpose the content of the video in the form of text on a blog post, and that is exactly what I'm going to do. So in addition to a video on registering a domain name, I will create one of my first posts on the same subject, which I will briefly outline for you now. I'll just go to the left-hand side of my dashboard, under Posts, and click Add New. I'll speak more about the SEO or search engine optimization of this post in a subsequent video, but for now I'll quickly do a draft of the post and then go back to it when I'm not filming to spruce it up a bit and hopefully make it look a little more polished before I publish it. So just like a page, you add your title and then start to add the body of the post. I haven't done any keyword research yet to know exactly the title that I want to use, but for a quick draft I'll just use registering a domain name with Namecheap as my working title. I took some screenshots from Namecheap of key areas relating to getting your domain name registered using a great product called Snagit, which is by a company called TechSmith, that allows you to get screenshots of entire web pages as opposed to just what is visible without scrolling or what is referred to as above the fold. I wouldn't be exaggerating if I told you I use Snagit about 10 times a day easily when getting screenshots of various web pages and then editing them, etc. There might be other good screen capture software out there, but this one I think is definitely worth a look at. If you're interested in learning more about it, I will leave a link below this video in the description. So I'll quickly add those screenshots I mentioned into my media library to use them in the post. Rather than having you watch me type, I'll just paste in some text for illustration purposes. I'll quickly scroll to the bottom, word count 3407. Like I said, I'll tidy this thing up, so not sure what the word count will be when the smoke clears. I'll scroll way up to the top. Since I put some new content, I'll quickly save a draft of it. It says that it is updated. Let's take a quick look how the post looks in preview. I'll scroll through it to take a quick peek. Definitely need some better spacing and images without a doubt, so I'll quickly add an image. I'll scroll to where I want it inserted. Just after this paragraph that starts with, "You will see a page similar to this," and put my cursor after that paragraph at the beginning of the next. I'll click Add Media. It's already loaded into my media library. This is the one that I want, so I'll just click on that one. I'll quickly add a caption over in this area here. I'll just type Namecheap homepage, and then the alternative text or alt text is something we'll talk about more in the post SEO section in video 9, but it's essentially in the event the image doesn't render or show up in someone's screen because they have images blocked, etc., or for visually impaired people who have text readers so they know what the image is of. While it will show up with my caption, for SEO purposes at the very least, I will just add something similar, Namecheap homepage screenshot. Then I could add additional stuff if I wanted to, but for now I'm just going to click Insert into Post. There it is with the caption below it. I'll just scroll up to the top to preview it, and then scroll down to the image. Of course, like you could see in the editor, the image is quite small. Going here just confirms that. So obviously that size is not going to work. So I'll just X out of that tab and scroll back to my image and click on it. So I can either drag the corner to resize it, say something like that, or alternatively I can just go back and click the pencil to edit it. You can see that now the width is 184 by 90. I like to have big images when applicable because images are important. So let's do full size and click Update. Let's scroll up to preview it. Looks better, but notice how it is wider than the text? That really doesn't look right. That has to do with the column width setting, which is set by default for this theme in order to have the author title and avatar image, etc. The image is currently the full width of the post, which is greater than the width of the column that it is going to be sitting in. I'm not going to be using this theme, so I can just leave it, but since you may be considering staying with this default WordPress theme, I'll quickly show you how to edit this image to the correct size. So let's close out of this preview and go back to the image itself. And click on Edit. Instead of full size, let's try large. If you notice, the large image is 840 by 411. And update that. I'll go up to Preview again, scroll down to the image. So now we are basically the size that we want to be, the full width of the column, but not any bigger. We are perfectly within the column width. So if you are keeping this theme, just remember that your column width is 840 pixels wide, as that is the width of a large image. I'll be adding a lot more images, as well as embedding the YouTube video that physically shows the steps inside of the post as well, should someone who starts to read the post wants to jump to seeing the video, but I'll do that off camera. One thing I would say quickly though, is to spend the time to make your posts as professional as possible. Include a lot of images that are relevant to the post, include a lot of white space so there aren't large blocks of text, use bolded text to highlight important points and to catch the eye of those that will simply be scanning your post quickly, and break up sections using headings to separate the various sections of your post for those that may be more interested in certain sections more than others. Now, like I said, I'm going to be installing a different theme, which I will go through in video 10 of this video series, and also adding opportunities to share my blog posts socially by downloading a social plugin, which I will discuss in a little bit in the next video on plugins, video 8 of this series, so my post page will likely look quite a bit different than this. But even though I'll be changing the theme and adding social plugins, whatever content I am entering here will be carried over to the new theme. You may decide to stay with WordPress's default theme, which is what we have here, and is perfectly fine. One last thing that I want to add in this post section that highlights another difference between pages and posts is setting a feature image. So let me show you that now. Let's just scroll up to the top. A feature image is one that goes at the top of your post, just underneath the post title, and goes the full width of not just the text column, but the entire width here, like we just accidentally did to the image below. If you remember from just a bit earlier, when we did that image edit at full page, that the width of the image was across the entire left side of the screen. Let's just go back there to confirm that size again. If we go back to that editor, scroll down to the image, and hit Edit. Now we've got the image on large, so we know that the width of the text column is 840 pixels. Last time we did full size, which basically hung over the side of our text column, and that width is 1440. Width is always first and height second. The image here can stay large because we know that works inside the post. X out of this image editor. To do that, we need to add a feature image. Before I do that, since I'm here, I'll just speak quickly about the right side of this edit screen. You've got a format section here at the top that allows you to format the view that you have on the left side of the screen. Going down, you've got your categories. Now that we set that up, you can add categories to the post that we are working on. For example, this post on registering a domain name with Namecheap falls inside the web presence category of posts for my site. I'll just uncheck Uncategorized. There's a tag section that I don't really use, and then at the bottom is the section that I am referring to, which is Feature Image. Let's click on Set Featured Image. It takes us back to the image library. If you have an image here that you would like to use for your feature image, then you would click on that image and then select Set Featured Image. For me, I don't have the image uploaded yet, so I'll just click on the Upload Files tab, and then click on Select Files. Then I'll just click on this one here, that's the one that I want, and click Open, which uploads it into my library. For caption, I don't need a caption, but for alt text, I'm going to put registering a domain name with Namecheap feature image. That just helps with the SEO of my site by making the search engines aware of the fact that this post is about registering a domain name with Namecheap, so that hopefully they rank me for that phrase or some of those keywords. I don't need a description, so I'll just click Set Feature Image. You can see in the bottom right, inside of the Feature Image section, that my image is there. Let's scroll up to the top and check out Preview, and just click on the correct tab to see it. And there you go. Now it's a pretty basic image. You won't want to make it more attention-getting than that, as it is part of what entices a potential reader to scroll down and actually read it. But the point is that the image is a good size across the entire left column. There you go. You just set a feature image. I'll close that Preview tab and quickly save the draft and keep going. An item that deserves mention is the permalink here. If you don't want to use the given slug of the title of your post separated by hyphens, you can change that part here. But other stuff in between that and your domain name, in my case trueliftdigital.com, doesn't serve any SEO value, and in my opinion is likely something that you're going to want to change. This naming convention is a silly default permalink structure. It just adds length to your post title and, to me at least, doesn't serve a good purpose. We will change that when we get down to the permalinks section in just a bit. I just wanted to bring it up now so that you don't publish a post without changing that. For now, I'll just OK it, but it should be changed before you publish anything. I mentioned that I will be cleaning up this post so that it's easier to read and more visually appealing. And one such way to make your content more easily readable, like I mentioned earlier, is to include subheadings within your post. Just as a quick example, If I wanted to change the font size, and in some instances whether or not it is bolded, etc., I could click on this toggle button to expand the ribbon, highlight some text that I want to change, perhaps to create a subheading, and then select which heading size I want to use for that subhead. By default, all of your text is in this paragraph style, but you have these various options here. Let's just click Heading 1 and give that a look. To undo that, just highlight it again and make it a paragraph style again, and that's it. Then if you were to view your post using the Text tab here, which allows you to see the HTML portion of it as well, your text would be wrapped in the respective HTML tags. I won't go into that explanation now, but if you choose Heading 1, for example, for a section of text, in the Text tab you will see that text with an open bracket H1, then close bracket at the front and back of that text. Something to concern yourself with at another time, but I'm just bringing it up so that you can check that out for yourself if you want. Before we move on, I'll also just point out that you can customize how your dashboard looks in every section, including this Edit Post section, to match how you like to work inside of here. If you go up to the Screen options and drop down that tab, you can change various aspects of your dashboard and what shows up or doesn't show up on the screen. I'll let you play with that on your own, but just point out a few things, like if I click on the discussion, for example, to allow that section to show, and then scroll down to the bottom of the entire post, it's a pretty long one. You can see that you can allow comments or not allow comments on your blog post. You can allow trackbacks and pingbacks if you want. I'll let you click on that if you want to find out more about what it is. If you go back up to the top, I'll just uncheck that, and there's various other aspects you can change, like the view from 2 column to 1. If I click on 1 column, for example, then it just moves all the items that I had on the right side of your screen down to the bottom below your post. It's just another way to view things. For now, I'll just keep it at 2 columns. I just wanted to give you a bit of an example of what can be changed and make you aware or remind you about the Screen Options tab. In continuing to work our way down the left side column, let's click on Comments. When you installed WordPress and they auto-generated the Hello World post for you, you also automatically received a comment on that post from WordPress, and that is what this is. It has already been approved by default. If someone comments on one of your blog posts, this is where you can monitor those comments. Just because someone comments, that is, if you have the comments turned on to receive them in the first place, you do not have to approve that comment. I'll show you in the next video a plugin that we will install that will keep the vast majority of spam comments out, but just so you know, if you hover over any part of a comment, you have the ability to approve it, or in this case unapprove it since it was automatically approved as an example, reply to it, do a quick edit of it, edit it, tag it as spam, or send it to the trash. This comment and the default Hello World post that is associated with it can be deleted if you want, as they are just there to show you in an example. The marketplace, as I have discussed, is a place where you can peruse themes, plugins, services, graphics, and business tools. They are available elsewhere on the internet, but WordPress, I guess, must have an agreement with Mojo Marketplace to include them on every install. If you want, feel free to have a look around at that. And that brings us to the end of section 2 of this video. Nice work on getting to this point. If you followed along the whole way, you've just covered a ton of useful information that you can put into action right away. Just a quick summary of what you've covered in this section before moving on. We started off with the difference between pages and posts, talked about what media is in the WordPress context, and then jumped into pages, specifically how to edit them, save changes, trash, and restore them. For editing pages and posts, we discussed using the text editor and the visual editor, talked a little bit about HTML and CSS, and how to save drafts that aren't ready for the web yet. We jumped into your media library and did some editing and linking of that media, including putting a feature image in your posts and more. No doubt there's a lot there, but if you miss something, you can always go back and check it out later. Or once you get rolling a little more with your site and questions inevitably come up, this material can be a great resource to come back to help get you unstuck. Just follow the timestamps to the specific section you need. Let's keep rolling. Your web presence isn't going to produce content by itself. Let's pick up again where we left off. The Appearance tab is a very important one. I'm not going to go into themes directly. I'll quickly go through themes in the Customize section, but I do have a video coming up in the series that is just on themes. If you want to go check it out though, go for it. Within Customize, you can change many of the other tabs in this Appearance section, including Widgets, Themes, Menus, Header, and Background. If you click inside of here, you can see what I'm talking about with your theme, header image, background image, menus, and widgets. What you see here is your default homepage so far, unless you have made some changes during an earlier stage. This is basically what it looks like out of the box with a standard blog roll website, like the Yoga Dork example I gave earlier, and the default WordPress theme 2016, and the default Hello World blog post. Just in case you aren't familiar, here are the basic parts of a website. Across the top you have a header. In a 2-column layout, which this is, you have a body and a sidebar or widget area. At the bottom of the page, you also have a footer. Now, of course, you can have many different layouts with multiple navigation bars in the header section, full page or 3, 4, or even 5-column or more below the header, no widget area at all, or multiple widget areas, etc. But these are the standard sections of a traditional blog roll website. A cool feature of this customizing area is the ability to see how your page looks on a desktop, which is how you're seeing it now, how it would look on a tablet, and then how it looks on a smartphone. We'll use those views as we go through the rest of this video. You can change your theme here if you like, which will change the look and layout. So we're currently looking at 2016. If you click Change, you can see some of the other loaded up themes. For fun, let's check out 2014. You can either check out the theme details or check out a live preview. Let's just do a live preview to have a look. Quite a big change. You can see that the layout totally changed with a smaller header area, site title and tagline still on the left but different. Navigation at the top show the 2 pages we have so far, and if you hover over them, they change colors. The widget area has the same components, but it's on the left side instead of on the right and has a black background to it. The body portion is bigger, etc. Let's just assume for this example that you are just going to keep the 2016 theme, so we won't click Save and Activate. We'll just change it back. If you go up to Site Identity and click on it here, you can edit your site title and tagline if you choose, or you can even click here to remove it from even being displayed on your page at all. If you want to keep your site simple, you can just stay with your site name and tagline in place of a logo, or you can add a logo here. To better illustrate this section, I want to just quickly show you what I intend to do with the TRULiftDigital.com homepage with a wireframe. It's pretty high-tech stuff, I know. It might be a little bit hard to see, so I'll just zoom in a bit. I obviously didn't pretty it up for this video. This is actually the one that I'm using. Unlike a mock-up that shows colors, visual style, etc., a wireframe is just a skeleton of how you want things laid out. I have a logo back from the designer, a process I went through and recorded a video of where I show you how to look for a designer on Upwork and Fiverr, including the steps that I went through to get the TRU LIFT logo. If you are interested in checking out that video, just click the link on your screen right now if you are watching this on YouTube, or in the video description area either below or beside the video or wherever you see it. I'd like to have my logo on the left side of the page in place of my site title and tagline. I want that logo to be a link back to my homepage, so that whenever you click on it, you go back to my homepage, as opposed to having a separate home button on the navigation bar. I'll show you what I mean and how to do that in just a second. For navigation, for now at least, I think I'll just have 4 items: my About page, a link to the blog, a Resources page, and a Contact Us page. I'll have an image below the top navigation in the body of the page with some text overlaid across it to tell my visitors what the site is about and what benefit there is for them inside. I'll have my 3 main areas of focus of web presence, lead generation, and marketing automation above the fold so that you don't have to scroll down to see them, highlighted with icons that you can click on, but that also lead you down the page to find out more about what they are. Below each of those icons and below the fold, provided you scroll down the page, will be more detail on each of those areas of focus and how a visitor can benefit from them. I intend to purchase a new theme for my site, which I've mentioned a couple times now, rather than use the default theme provided by WordPress. And because the theme can change the way that the homepage looks with different options, styles, and features, I'll wait until I have the theme uploaded before I do too much homepage work. I'll show you where I get my themes and where you can get literally thousands of themes and website templates in video 10. Having said that, I want to show you some of the basics of working inside a default WordPress theme so that you can get a good start if that is what you intend to use. Don't worry if you already have blog posts and pages created if you intend or end up changing your theme as well, because for the most part your pages and posts transfer across the different themes smoothly. You may just have to alter image placement or something relatively minor. Anyway, let's quickly run through this customization section. So like I said, I have a new logo. So I'll click on Select Logo, which brings me to the media library, where I can select the image that I want to use for my logo, which is this one. Now before I go ahead, notice that it tells me the suggested size of the logo of 240 by 240. That is in px or pixels, by the way. If you look at the information for the logo that I selected, you can see that the size of my logo is way over the suggested size. To change the sizing of my logo, I'll go over here and click Edit Image. From here I can change the dimensions of the logo. If you remember the recommended size of 240 by 240 pixels. When dimensions are reported, the width is the first number and the height is the second. So if ideal is 240 wide by 240 high, since I do not have a square logo, I'll keep the width of it as big as I can get it at 240, but I do not want to have a height of 240 because that would distort my image and make it appear out of scale. I want to maintain the scale or proportion of my logo, so I can either do some math by taking my current width of 3667 and dividing it by 240, and then dividing the 1092 height by the same number, which would produce a revised height of 71 pixels, or a much easier way is to have WordPress do that for you with this scale button. Unfortunately, I've tried this off camera a few times and it just isn't working for me for some reason. I keep getting this NaN error. What should happen is after entering 240 as my width, it should automatically scale the image and produce the height number of 71. My guess is that there is a bit of a bug in the system because of the fact that I'm taking such a huge size logo, or perhaps I did something incorrectly. But either way, since I'm coming from a very large logo, I'll show you a workaround if you run into the same issue in just a moment, but while I am in this Edit Media area, there are a few things that I need to change here first. I'm going to change the name of the logo from this TRU LIFT Digital Marketing logo up12 that I had it previously saved as when I got it back from the designer to something more relevant, TRU LIFT Digital Marketing. Since this logo is going to be seen on every page of my site, the frequency of mention in the name of the logo is good for my brand from an SEO perspective. And then less for SEO purposes, which I'll discuss a little more in depth in video 9, but in the event that the logo doesn't render in someone's viewport in mobile or tablet, etc., or if they have images turned off for some reason, I'll just add the alternative text of home here. This logo will be the top of every page and post on your site. And earlier I mentioned that I don't want to have a separate button for home in my header navigation, but rather have my logo be a link back to the home page. To do that, in the description here, I'll just type home, and then highlight it, and click the link button here. It then asks me which URL do I want to link to. Since that is the home page, which will be at truliftdigital.com, I'll just enter the http:// and then truliftdigital.com. I can then have that open up in a new tab if I want. I'll just leave that unchecked as I don't want to do that, and I'll click Add Link. And it produces the anchor text code for me. And just so you know what I mean by anchor text, which is the HTML code that allows my logo to display the word home when someone hovers over it and makes it linkable to my home page. Specifically, the open bracket href equals, then my homepage URL of http:// inside of quotes, and then close bracket with no spaces, then the word home, then the closing tag of open bracket / the letter A for anchor and close bracket. I'll just click Update. It confirms to me here that the media file was updated. Then, since I still need to have the logo properly resized, because that scale button wasn't working properly for me, the workaround that I can use is just to close out of this tab. The original tab to select a logo from my media library still has that window open, so since my logo is still highlighted, I'll just click Select. Rather than crop the image, which would take only a piece of it, I'll drag these sidebars to include all of it, and then click Crop Image. And there you go. The logo is inserted into the header of the page and is correctly scaled. And if you'll notice, if I hover over the logo, you can see on the bottom left of the screen that the logo is linked to my homepage URL. So now that I have the logo there, I really don't need to have the site title and tagline, so I'll just uncheck this box here. I suggest if you want to have a tagline below your logo, it might be easiest from a formatting perspective to make it part of your logo before you insert it on this page. You also have the ability to insert a site icon, which is what will show up in the top of the tab when someone is on your site. To do that, just go over here to select the image. First, I'll quickly show you what I'm referring to. I'll just click Save and Publish before leaving the screen to save the changes I've made so far, and close this Customize section for a moment, and view my site. I'll hover over my homepage URL in the top left and click on Visit Site. In the tab for this page, you'll see the HostGator Gator, which appears by default. This is the site icon, or it can often be referred to as a favicon. Anyway, it is the icon that I want to change in order to help viewers identify this site by providing additional branding and look more professional. While I'm here, I'll quickly hover over my logo so you can see the link again to confirm that it did get saved and will work to get you back to my home page from wherever you are on my site. So I'll just go back to where I was by going back to the dashboard, then going down to Appearance, clicking on Customize, and then back into Site Identity. It will have to be a square image, and like it says here, preferably 512 by 512 pixels. I have that loaded into my media library in that size already, so I'll just click Select Image, and click on this image here, and click Select. So now if you look at the tab at the top of the screen, the HostGator Gator is gone and replaced with part of the TRU LIFT logo. Okay, that pretty much covers this section. Quick check how the page looks in desktop, quickly confirm that the logo is linked, and looks okay on tablet and smartphone. Take it back to the desktop and do a quick save and publish, then out of Site Identity, and let's check out colors. You can quickly change the entire color theme, including text color, background, page background, etc., to dark or red, etc. You can change the color of the background. Maybe you want a red background or a yellow background. You can do the same thing with page background. Maybe you want red or blue, etc. You can change your link color, which you can see here. The blue suggests a link to another page or section. Maybe you want to make it purple for some reason. Maybe that matches your logo or the color theme that you are going for. You can change the color of your main text, which is this text here in the body, or your secondary text, like this date here. So that's about it for colors. You can play around with it if you want. If you go down to the header image, you can add an image across the top of the page or post. You can see that the suggested size is 1200 by 280. Easiest way to show you where that would go is by showing you an example. I'll just load a quick blank image, already properly sized for illustration. I'll add a new image, go to the media library, and select this image. I'll skip cropping, and here you go. This gives you a sense of where it sits on your page. It is designed to catch people's attention and perhaps visually highlight the products and/or services you provide through images and/or text. Of course, you can check how it looks on a tablet and in mobile. I keep going back to look at those because you have to be conscious of how it looks in all viewports, not just desktop, as every day more and more people are moving to mobile and the customer experience is important. If you get someone to your site, you want them to stay there for as long as possible. And if things don't show up on their screens properly, they are going to leave. I'll just hide this image as I just wanted to show it as an example. I'll get out of here and into background image. There really isn't much background image showing here, as outlined in black, but if, say, you're a plumbing company, maybe you would want small pipe wrenches to show up in your background. Or if you were a florist, maybe you want small image of bouquets or something to show up around your main page area. This is where you would add that image. Some themes give you the ability to have a semi-translucent page background, which is the area on this page in white, which would allow you to see through the page background and give you the ability to see your background image through the page background. So there's another instance where you might want to add the appropriate background image. Menus we'll deal more with in just a moment outside of this customizing area. But if you want to add a menu, you could do that here. This default theme supports two types of menus, essentially a primary and a secondary, but I'll talk more about that in a bit. And then in the widget section, here we really only have one widget section currently, a sidebar widget on the right side in this theme. And again, I'll talk more about widgets when we get outside of customizing. But in this customizing area, you can change various attributes within your widgets. Like, for example, in recent posts, I can expand this widget, and you can change the number of recent posts we have listed within our widget. Maybe you want 6, 7, or 8 listed, etc. Or we can choose not to have any listed by getting rid of that part of the widget altogether from the right side of your screen by clicking Remove. You can change the order of the widgets by clicking and dragging them around. Right now, Recent Posts is second from the top. Maybe I want Recent Posts to appear closer to the bottom under Categories. I just drag it there and drop it. And now it automatically makes it appear on my page where I moved it. I'll just put it back to where it was and close it up. And you can add a widget as well, but I'll just keep moving. Next, we'll go into Static Front Page. So this is one of at least two places where you can change from a standard blog roll homepage, like I showed you earlier with the yogadork.com example, which just shows your latest blog post on your homepage, to a static homepage like I showed you in the joetheplumber.net example earlier. I'm not going to be going with a standard blog role. I'm going to have a static page that greets new visitors and tells them a little bit more about what they can expect on my site, and then links to my blog by way of a link in my header navigation. So for me, I would click Static Page. Right now it is showing the default Hello World blog post as my front page. I haven't created my homepage yet, but if I did, it would be available in this drop down here, and I would just click it to enable it as my front page. Kind of a side note, but notice that despite the fact that earlier in this video, while I created a draft About Us page that I titled About, it doesn't show up in my options on the drop down. Once I move that page from draft to an actual published page, then it would show up here. Anyway, for now I don't have my homepage ready yet, and since my site is not live, for examples going forward, until we get to the category section, I'll change my homepage to that default sample page because it has a bit more text in its body. Until I change it, if I went live with this site, this would be the homepage when you come to trueliftdigital.com. I'll click Save and Publish, and get out of the Static Page section, and X out of Customizing. That brings us to the end of Section 3. One more to go. In this section, you learned a little about themes and layouts, and the various parts or architecture of a website. You also got to see my super high-tech wireframe. You saw how you can personalize your website with your site title, tagline, logo, and site icon. And even how easy it is to change the color of not just your text, but your background and links as well. Let's finish strong. Again, let's pick up where we left off. I'll just go back down to Appearance. I'm just going sequentially through the tab, so we're not done inside here yet. We briefly talked about themes in the Customize section, and like I said, we'll go into a bit more detail when I show you how I purchased my theme in video 10, and we discussed all of the various sections within Customize in the context of how you can change the layout of your page relating to header image, background image, menus, widgets, etc. So we're done with customizing of appearance with regard to layout, but let's quickly take a closer look at these appearance items from a function perspective. If we click Widgets, you can see a screen that is different from the widgets section that we saw in Customize. Here you have all of your available widgets, and below you have a section for all your inactive widgets, which is like a temporary storage space for widgets you have created but maybe don't want active at a particular moment. This 2016 theme allows you to have 3 separate widget areas, one in the sidebar and 2 below the content of your pages and posts. You can basically do all the same things that you could do in the Customize section, like changing the number of pages or posts that are displayed, remove them, or rearrange them, but here you can more clearly move different sections in or out of your widgets area. If you're not clear on exactly what a widget is, the Help menu button here can probably do a better job of explaining it to you than I can. Now I'm not exactly sure until I start working on my site a little closer with the new theme if I'm going to have a sidebar widget at all, as I've noticed that some top sites are starting to move away from sidebar widgets in an effort to focus much more attention on mobile users of their site, as those users are growing massively as a percentage of views. A responsive theme, which just means the part of the theme that automatically resizes your content onto the respective device someone is viewing it on, whether that be a desktop, tablet, or smartphone, typically move your widgets to the bottom of the body of your content. I'll quickly show you what I mean. If I click on Manage Live Preview for a second, and I'll just go to Smartphone, you can see here content at the top, then Search, Recent Posts, Archives, Categories, etc. So sites are starting to integrate any banner ads or other call to action elements, etc. into their content. Or instead of having a visible search bar, just having the search icon at the top that you can click on to open a search field, for example. Anyway, that's my spiel on possibly moving away from sidebar widgets due to the increase in mobile viewership and the fact that in mobile, your widgets get pushed down below the body of your posts. Like I said, I'll see what I'll do after I get my theme installed and activated, and then perhaps test how effective the sidebar widget is for me in mobile. I'll just X out of that for now. I may have a footer widget, but for now, for illustration purposes, I'll just show you how to work on things with a sidebar widget. Let's pretend I don't want to have recent comments in my sidebar widget. I'll expand the recent comments section and click Delete. Let's delete meta as well by clicking Delete. Then let's say I want to add an opt-in form widget in the sidebar to collect visitor email addresses. To do that, I need to add a text box, so I'll just click on a text box from my collection of available widgets on the left side, and I'll drag it onto my sidebar widget area and release it where I want it to appear. How about after search? I've copied text, or more accurately a little bit of code from one of my other sites, to use for illustrative purposes, and I'll paste it in here by hitting Command-V on my keyboard or Control-V if you are a PC user. Then I'll just click Save so you can check out these changes. I'll just close that. I'll scroll up to the top and click on Manage with Live Preview. So if you draw your attention to the sidebar widget area on the right side of your screen, you basically have the search widget, followed by this opt-in form, which is the code I pasted into the text widget, then recent posts, archives, and categories. The recent comments section is no longer there, nor is the meta widget. I'll just X out of that live preview then and show you some more additions you can make. This time, instead of sidebar widget, I'll put it in the content bottom 1 widget area. I'll just grab this calendar widget here and drag it into the content bottom 1 widget and release it. I'll save the changes I made and go back to Manage Live Preview. So now if I scroll down to the area below the body of my text, for this sample page, you can see where my calendar widget was placed. You can preview that in mobile to see how it renders there. You have your text, then scrolling down you see your calendar widget. And then if you keep scrolling, you start on your sidebar widgets area with search and then opt-in form, etc. I'll just go back to desktop. So what if I wanted to get rid of this opt-in form on the side, this looking to get started in email marketing one? Let's go back to the other screen by Xing out of this live preview. Then I'll go inside of the sidebar widget area, click on the text widget, and drag it down to the inactive widgets area. Maybe I don't want it on my site now for whatever reason. Maybe you have something that is a limited time offer or a sale promotion, etc. that perhaps in the future I want back on my site, and I don't want to have to find that code again. By placing this widget in the inactive widgets section, the next time I do want it on my screen, I can just come here and easily drop it into one of my widget areas, save it, and I'm good. And then maybe you change your mind about having recent comments in your sidebar, and perhaps the same with meta. Don't worry. Those are standard widgets. Just drag them back in where you want them. Maybe you don't want the calendar widget in your content bottom 1 area. No problem either. Just open it up, or expand the content bottom 1 widget area, expand the calendar widget, and delete it. Let's check out what we just did by going up to Manage with Live Preview. And there you see your widget area is back to where it was before. The opt-in form for email marketing is gone, recent comments and meta are back in there, and the calendar has been removed. That's about all I wanted to show you in this widget section. I'm just going to quickly take that opt-in form from the inactive widget section and put it back in the sidebar widget area to add some color to some upcoming examples. Okay, let's go to menus. So if you are unsure what menus are and how to use them, just like with widgets, you can go up to the help area here at the top, read the overview, read about menu management, and editing menus. But I'm just going to close that and give you an example of how to create a menu for the site that I'm trying to put together. Let's just quickly go back to the wireframe of the TRU LIFT homepage. So if you remember, I want to have a top header area that goes across the top of not just the homepage, but every page of my site that has my logo on the left side, and I want that logo to also be a link back to my homepage instead of having the word home in my top header. So I will need a homepage, then I want clickable links across the top to an About page, blog page, resource page, and Contact Us page. And I'll show you how you can do that. To create a new menu, you can either go here and click on Create a New Menu, or just go to Menu Name here and create it. I want to create a header menu because it's going to go across the header section of my website. That menu is going to be the main navigation for my site, so I'll call it Main Header Nav, with nav being short for navigation, and click Create Menu. Then it asks me about menu structure. So of the 5 pages I want across the top header, being Homepage, About Us, Blog page, Resource page, and Contact Us page, I do have a Contact Us form already. It's not complete, as I still need to edit it, but it can serve as the page that I will be using for a Contact Us page. So I'll just check the box beside Contact Us and click Add to Menu. And now you see it inside of the menu structure. So I've got that page, but of the 5, that's all I've got so far. If I go into Posts in the most recent tab, the only one I have is the default Hello World post, nothing in the View All tab. You can create a custom link, but I'm not interested in doing that right now. In Categories, if I click on View All, you can see the categories that I created earlier, but I've got nothing in them yet. So there is nothing to show inside of those categories yet, so I'll have to change that. I'll show you what I mean shortly. Ultimately, I want to have the blog portion of my navigation menu bar have a drop-down with the various categories of blog posts that I have on my site. But first things first, I'm going to have to save the changes I made, adding the Contact Us page to the menu structure. It tells me the main header nav has been updated. And I've got to create some pages to put in my menu. So I'll go up to Pages and then click on Add New. I'm going to create a placeholder for my home page. So for title, I'll just put Home. For text, just to have something here, I'll just type, "This is my home page." Now I could save this as a draft, but if it is saved as a draft, you can't always access those pages in other functions. So since this site is not live yet until I click the link above, I'll just publish this page. If I was live, all there would be on this page is, "This is my home page," but I'll fix this page before I go live with this site. It tells me that the page was published. Then I'll just click Add New at the top. I'll title this page Resources and put some quick text and publish that page. Then I'm going to go to Pages and All Pages. I'm going to open up this About page by clicking on About. The reason it didn't show up in my menu option is because it is saved as a draft, so I'll just publish that. Page published. I'll then go to Posts, All Posts. I'll click on the Registering a Domain Name post and click on that to go to the editor, and I'll publish that. You'll see why I'm doing all of this shortly. While still inside the Posts tab, I'm going to go down to the categories and we're going to add a new one, which I'll call Blog. The slug can also be blog. There is no parents, so we can just add that new category. Now you'll see that blog has been added to the right side. I'm going to create some structure in the blog category by clicking on the lead generation category to open that up. And where it says parent, now that I've created the blog category, I'm going to make blog the parent, which means that lead generation is now a subcategory of the blog category. And I'll update that. I'll click back to categories and do the same thing for marketing automation. Parent is blog, and update that. Back to categories one more time, go into web presence and add the parent of blog and update that. Now I'm just going to change my front page, or the page that you go to when you type in my URL of trueliftdigital.com, from the sample page that I directed it to just a few moments ago to the new homepage placeholder that I just created. So I'm going to go to Appearance and Customize. Click on Static Page, and then for front page, I'll just click the drop down and select Home. And then go up to Save and Publish and X out of this customizing section. Then I'll go back down to Appearance and Menus. So the reason we just did all that is to organize this menu structure. I'll just put a check beside About and Resources and click Add to Menu. Then I'll scroll up a bit and go to Categories, click on View All, check Blog, and add that to the menu. I'll just change the order of them. I want About on the top, Blog next, and Resources after that. I'll just point out quickly that if I wanted Resources to be a submenu of Blog, for example, I could just drag it over to the side a little bit and it becomes a sub-item. But I don't want to do that, so I'll just put it back. Before I leave this area, I just want to make sure that I check this box to make this menu setting a primary menu within the theme. And then I'll save my menu. Then I'm just going to go and preview it. And there you go. About, Blog, Resources, and Contact Us. I'll change the name of Contact Us to Contact later. If you recall from my wireframe, I kind of have what I was thinking across the top. TRU LIFT logo, About, Blog, Resources, and Contact Us. And if I click on About, you'll see my About page with all my stuff on it. And if I go to Blog, so far I only have one post in there. If I go to Resources, you see the page I just created as a placeholder. And Contact Us has the original Contact Us page I created way back in the configuration helper. And if I click on our logo, it takes me back to my home page placeholder page. One change I still want to make on my navigation menu is to have a drop-down of my categories under Blog. So I'm just going to hold down the Shift key, like it says here, and click on Blog to edit the element. Over on the left side, I'm in the Blog section, and I want to add some items to the Blog menu. So I'll just drop down this Categories tab and click on the items I want to add. I'll add Web Presence, Lead Generation. I'll add that, and same with Marketing Automation. Now I'll just change the order of those items. I'll take Web Presence and drop it under Blog, ditto with Lead Generation and Marketing Automation. I don't want it flush with the left side, which would make it a separate main category and show up on my header navigation. I just want it a bit to the right so that it is a subcategory of one of the existing categories, in this case of Blog. Then I'll just hit Save and Publish. And now those three categories are nested inside of Blog. If you go to Blog and click the arrow, you get a drop-down of the various subcategories of blog that are available to you. So instead of seeing all of the blog posts that I have, you can see just the ones for specific sections of my website that you may be interested in: web presence, lead generation, and marketing automation. Now, I don't have any posts inside of marketing automation yet, or lead generation, but if I click on web presence to go there, it shows the only posts that I've got in that category. I'll just take a quick peek inside of mobile. See how the menu shows up here in mobile? If you click on menu, it drops down, rather than having the navigation across the top screen, which would be too small. This way it reads down: About, Blog, Web Presence, Lead Generation, Marketing Automation, Resources, and Contact Us, before you go to the rest of your page. So that's how it will show up on mobile. Then on tablet, similar concept for the menu, and then desktop. So that's all I wanted to show you for the menu section. Let's keep moving on and finish off the appearance section. It's a really big section, but we're almost done with it. For header, there's no difference between this tab here and the Customize tab we've already gone over, so I won't go in here. Same with background. It's exactly the same as it is in Customizer. Premium themes is just tied to the Mojo Marketplace, and like I said, I'll be dealing with an entire video on themes in video 10 of this series. Editor is where you can edit various sections of your theme and your site's HTML and CSS code. So, if you're not comfortable with your ability to change code, then I suggest you heed the warning here, because without trying to scare you, you can mess things up pretty good if you're not sure what you're doing, and trying to fix them, especially when you can't remember what you changed and where, can take your time up like crazy and be incredibly frustrating. If you are comfortable, then no problem. But if you are a bit uncomfortable, but you're going to try and go ahead anyway, say for example you just need to get one section for a quick script insert like Google Tag Manager, at the very least take before and after screenshots of the page you are editing, or better yet, highlight the text, copy it, and paste it into something like Word. I'll show you a quick example because this step can save you a lot of time and frustration. I'll show you what I do or have done in the past using OneNote, but like I said, you can use any word processor to accomplish the exact same thing. I use OneNote for almost everything I do, which is a free Microsoft product, by the way, if you're interested. Anyway, if I went to the header PHP file, for example, and I bypassed the warning by clicking Proceed, and needed to add something here after the opening body tag, I would first highlight the section that I am going to change before I make any change. Just go down far enough to capture the area that you are going to change, and then some to help orient yourself. Hit Command-C to copy it in a Mac, or Control-C to copy it in PC. Go over to my OneNote program, or a Word or similar text-based program if you have, and label it somehow as the before code, and paste it by hitting Command-V or Control-V into OneNote in my case. Go back to WordPress, make the change that I want to make, whether it be copying a script, etc. I'll just add some text for illustration. Then highlight everything you did in the first step, plus the change, copy it, go back to OneNote, label it after or changed, etc., and paste that into OneNote as well. And then highlight the portion that you changed and change its color or somehow clearly identify it so you know if there is a problem or conflict that you can just go back and change the code to the way that it was originally. I would then go back to WordPress and click Update File to save the change that I made. I'm just going to quickly remove the change because I don't want any change to be made now, so I won't click Update File. I'll just get out of this section. As a side note, while the default themes of WordPress don't have an easy script insert area, a lot of themes have a bit more user-friendly editing function that allows you to just enter the code without having to go into this, perhaps for some intimidating edit area. There are also plugins that make this step easier as well, and we'll download one such plugin in the next video. But for now, let's keep on moving. We're almost done. Since the next video is all about plugins, I will leave this plugin section for the next video. Users. You may be the only one that has access to the back end of your site, or you may have a web developer or programmer that you want to grant access to, or you may have writers hired that contribute content directly into your site and therefore require access, or just other staff or a business partner that needs access. You can add new users here or here and set their role to the appropriate one. There is a bit of a hierarchy when it comes to what any user may edit or change on the site, in that those with the title or role of administrator have the ability to change all facets of the site, whereas an author, for example, would be restricted to editing much less. For a summary of roles, just go up to the Help menu at the top of the page under For More Information. You can edit your profile here, or in the top right corner here of course as well, or that of any user if they are logged in, or you can just edit it here. So perhaps one of your authors, or you for that matter, wants to have their individual image listed within the post with a link to their bio. They could do that in this Profile Edit section, provided they are logged in. Next is Tools. As you add plugins and other tools, you may use this area more, but for now I really don't use anything in here yet, so I'll leave that for you to peruse on your own if you wish. The General Settings section and the Writing Settings section of Settings is very self-explanatory, so I'll leave you to go through that on your own as well, but I'll just quickly go into Reading. In addition to the Customize area that we discussed already, here's another area where you can change which front page you will use and edit the number of posts you want displayed and how they appear. One quick comment I'll make in this section as well is, since the site has not been launched yet, as is shown at the top here, once I do click on the Click Here anchor text and my site goes live, meaning that anyone on the web can now see it, I'll want to come back to this section here and make sure this Search Engine Visibility box is not checked. This is very, very important. Once you go live, you want the search engine spiders to crawl your site so that Google and other search engines can help send traffic your way by placing your company's website in their search results. Clicking the link above will accomplish this, but since this is so important, be sure to verify that clicking the link above removes this check mark here. Once you get your site rolling and get things like analytics set up, etc., if you don't see your site getting any traffic, or at least not organic traffic or search engine traffic, this is one of the key areas to come back to. The discussion area allows you to alter the settings as they pertain primarily to blog comments. Media allows you to alter image sizes and organize media folders. I'll let you go through each of those on your own if you wish. And lastly, Permalinks allows you to change the settings on the permalinks of your pages and posts. Now, depending on what, if any SEO plugins you add to your site, which we will deal with in Video 8 on plugins and Video 9 on SEO, you may be able to do this step directly within your SEO plugin, but I'll go through it here quickly. Let's go in here because the default structure kind of makes me crazy. If you remember back when I created the registering a domain name with Namecheap post, this goofy naming structure that had this junk in between my domain name and the blog post title or slug, this whole string is your permalink, and it is in the permalink section that we can fix this. It's a nice quick fix. Just click the post name radio button, and like it says, the permalink becomes your domain name and then just post name after the /. Since I made a change, I'll just click Save Changes. And there's my confirmation that the structure was updated. Like I said before, OptinMonster is a preloaded exit intent plugin that basically pops up when someone is about to leave your site, trying to get them to become a lead of yours by subscribing to your email list. I haven't used OptinMonster directly myself, so I can't say whether it is great or not, but I have used and will continue to use exit intent software because it can definitely help increase the number of leads you collect and hopefully convert quite dramatically. And lastly, for the final item that I am going to go over in the entire dashboard section, if you want to increase the size of your workspace, you can simply move the dashboard menu out of the way by clicking here. Clicking on the icon again will expand it back again. Like I said in the introduction, and have been saying throughout this video series, the ability to fill in the gap between your business idea and getting your message out to the world so that you can effectively grow your business is vital. So any time spent watching this video and getting you closer to getting your content out to the world is time well spent and will serve you well in your business. So congratulations on putting in the time and effort and getting to this point. In this video, I hopefully gave you a solid walkthrough of WordPress and you feel confident that you know what to do to publish your content and how to do it. We started off in section 1 with going through the configuration wizard and learning about the WordPress dashboard and the differences between pages and posts. In section 2, we drilled down into key content vehicles using those pages and posts and combining them with media to put your product or service out there. Zooming out a bit to look at the big picture, in section 3, we looked at the elements of your website appearance in the areas of website architecture and personalization, and then we wrapped up the appearance section in section 4 with widgets, menus, and the site editor. I know that is a lot of information in a very long video, but my hope is that it helped you tremendously and you use it as a resource going forward and that it continues to help you. Now that you know how to get your content out there and are more comfortable inside of WordPress, we're still staying inside of WordPress for a bit, but we're going to narrow down the focus to plugins in Video 8 before going on to SEO in Video 9, themes in Video 10, and keep going with social profiles and tracking code installs in Videos 11 and 12. I hope you'll join me for those and keep building on your web presence. How did you make out? Is there anything in this video that you would want me to change to make it better for you? I want to provide you with solid value, so let me know in the comments how I can better do that. If you haven't downloaded the Ultimate Web Presence Checklist yet, I'm sure it can help you keep on track with the setup of your web presence. To jump to video 8 now, click on the video right now. I'll be over there waiting for you. Take care and go get 'em.